Here I'm going to be going over the header and footer. The header and footer are basically used the same, just one is at the top, the header, and one is at the bottom of each page, the footer. So to access it, I go over to Page, and down here I can select Header or Footer. To add a new, I would click Add New, and I'd have access to that one. Now, whichever header you're going to be using, you'll want to make it default, which, if it's not already set to default when it has this circle by it, you'll want to click on these 3 circles and click Make Default. Now, let's make a header. Usually, a header will have the logo on the left-hand side and a menu. To select the menu, you'll go to Widgets, Controls, and slide down, and it should be the last widget on there. Drag it out, and there should be a basic menu already implemented in there. Now, to edit what is on there, I'm going to go into Widget Settings. This is where I can delete and add new pages. Let's say I wanted to add the contact page through a URL to a different page. I come, what do I want to link it to? Down to Custom, and I would paste the URL here. Let's do this one, for example. And then click Done. Now, it's very tiny and I want the words bigger, so that's when I would go to Styles. Here it has a lot of options, but if you read through them, it should be able to help you figure out. Also, it's highlighted blue what area it will be editing. So I want to do Menu Items because it's talking about the words and it's highlighted blue. I click on Menu Items and I go down to Text, and I make the text size bigger. Now, they're pretty close together, so I'll go here to Spacing, and I can add more spacing. Now, when you add spacing right here, it will add it to the top, sides, and bottom, 15 px on each of those sides. But let's say I wanted the top and bottom to stay the same at 0, but I wanted the side to be 15. I'd come over to here, this cog symbol, and I'd click on it. And here's where I have access to edit whichever one I want to. So since I only want to edit the sides, I'm going to highlight each side and add the number I'd like it to be at, and click Done. It'll appear as 0, but that's just because all the numbers aren't the same. If you're unsure, I would click on that just to make sure that they're all the same. Now, this has spacing 0, 0 for top and bottom, but 15 and 15 on each side. Now I'm able to move this wherever I like. You can add as many as you would like. And let's say I'd like to add a drop down on About and say Meet the Team. I'd go back to that settings, and on this right hand side under the About page, I'd click plus, and then I'd add whichever page I'd like to add. As I said before, let's do Meet the Team. So now you see these lines will show you how it interconnects. So these main 3 are all going to be on the outside, but this one will be under the About Us. So you can't see it here, but if you double click, you're able to see it is below. Now let's add the logo. And usually it's just on this left-hand side, as I said before. To add an image, you just go to Settings, and then this plus button, and click on the image you would like to add. Then you're able to adjust the size by lifting that up and moving things around. Now, once I'm satisfied with the way it looks, you'll come up to the right-hand side and click Publish. Now let's go back to the home page and see how it looks. Now, it's not showing yet because it's not selected. So what we have to do is click on this select header and choose the header I want to show up. So because it's the header I didn't edit, I'll have to change it. And now I can see how the header will look with the rest of my page. Now, to do the same thing with the footer, most of the time we'll just have a logo, another menu, and maybe a Made by EliteWorks thing. We're going to go back to controls and add a menu. Now, I want this to be centered, but it's going to the left. So to change that, I'm going to go to Styles and Widget Container. Back down to this spacing, and here it has Align Content. This means that it will align the way the arrow shows, and it will move everything in that widget to align that way. I want the text a little bigger, and then I want my logo. And just as we did with the header, we'll go back to the home page and select the footer we would like to use. Then you'll click Publish. And if you want to see what it would look like live, just click View Live, and it will show you how your website looks live.